Hey everybody, this is you-know-who, Greg aka Crazy G, and I am here again, yes, for NECR New England Concert Reviews, and I have a very interesting guest this time, and his name is none other than Eric Davidson, vocalist for the band Dead Horse Trauma. Hello, welcome, and thanks for hitting us up here at NECR. What is shaking in the world of Dead Horse Trauma?
Oh man, lots of stuff. We got a new music video we're working on. We have a brand new album that we're going to be releasing here in February. We're supposed to be on tour right now, but we kind of got in some vehicle troubles, on the way to Denver, Colorado. We ended up breaking down in Lincoln, Nebraska. And so right now we're doing a big pre-order campaign for our t-shirt to try to raise some money to fix like $3,000 in repairs that we're going to need.
Can you give us a little detail on the history of DHT for those who might have never heard of Dead Horse Trauma before?
Yeah, we've been around for about 8 years. We've only been touring for about the last 3 years. We kind of just decided to take things a bit more seriously and work more on a national level, but we've been kind of regionally hitting our markets around the Midwest. We're from right here in Des Moines, Iowa. We had a couple radio singles. Disbelief was our first one that we had put out. It kind of didn't do that well in national radio. Then the next one we had Reckoning Day from our album Biops. That one ended up going to Sirius XM and kind of making a name for us a little bit before we went out and started touring. And then we went out on tour with a band called Straight Line Stitch. And that kind of helped us get our feet wet as far as hitting the road and learning everything we need to know about doing that. Ever since then we've been hitting the road and trying to build our name as far as a national band here in the U.S.
Very nice. And yes, I know Straight Line Stitch very well. Alexis, very nice and talented young woman. DHT is actually doing quite a bit, and recently the band has released a CD not long ago called Kill the Precedence. What can you tell us about this CD?
That CD was we did with our producer Donnie Manglasser. We just pretty much wanted to we took a whole new angle on the way we were writing. We had a lot of songs that we kind of intended to kind of work out for radio and to try to appeal to a different kind of market. Kind of got this idea to infiltrate the rock market, as a metal band, which we're kind of trying to continue to do now with our new album Life coming out.
Very cool, and we'll be getting a Life very shortly. There's a couple of tracks because, as I said, I wanted to check you guys out, and I was hoping to hear more of the Life CD. Spectre is a track that sticks out heavily. What can you tell us about that song?
Oh yeah, it's a story about some friends that they lived in this house. Ever since they moved in there, it started, things just kind of were in a real negative tone with them. They'd never been that way before, and then they got in there, and they said they would fight all the time. They'd always hear stuff. Then it just kind of gave me the idea for a story about looking at yourself in the mirror, not seeing the same person back, staring back at you.
Another song that grabs you is Psycho. What was the idea behind that particular song?
Oh yeah, that's our friend Timmy the Psycho Gorman. He's a fighter. He's in the UFC. The guy's amazing. He's worked his way up from we used to have MCC fights here in Des Moines, and he worked his way up the ladder pretty quickly. The guy's a real dedicated dude. He's full of energy, just like, I'm a pretty energetic guy, but the guy came over to my house. I was making up some shirts and stuff like that. He's just bouncing off the walls, like pounding a gallon of water while he's sitting here. It was awesome. He's been doing really well. He was on the Ultimate Fighter show a while ago, and he ended up getting injured before his big fight. So Dana White saw that he was really mad about not being able to fight and everything because of his injury. And so he was willing to just fight through it. And, kind of liability issues and stuff like that. Dana couldn't let that happen, but he said he did promise them, because he had a lot of heart, and you could see that. He's like, oh, well, I'll get you a fight. So later on, he ended up proving himself in that later fight. And it was actually, the UFC was supposed to let Psycho be his opening music. He came to us at this time and asked us to write a song for him, because he's a big supporter of Iowa. He always represents his Iowa bands and stuff like that. And so we wrote the songs for him, just to come out there. And apparently there was too much metal at that time on that show that he was at, so we were unfortunately not able to have our song on national TV.
That sucks. I can also understand the off-the-wall part because, me being a little older gentleman, I bounce every day, man. My energy level is through the roof, let me tell you. Day After also qualifies as very tangible on the hard/metal taste buds. What was the thought process for that particular song? song?
Oh man, that was one that just kind of came together. You know, at this point, for Kill the Precedence, we all live in the same town, but we were really focusing on writing individually, you know, as writers, and kind of bringing our stuff together. So that was one of the first songs that we had. You know, we were all kind of just bouncing back and forth and sending everything. And I think our bassist at the time and had wrote some stuff, and they just kind of meshed together really, really well. So yeah, that song kind of fell together, and then we put it had this real attitude, like you said, it was real metal kind of attitude to it. And, you know, one kind of the topics is, you know, selfishness in society and things like that is kind of the topic of that one. It just ended up kind of writing itself.
Yeah, sometimes they do that for themselves. Artists are very fortunate in that aspect sometimes. DHT is also in the process of releasing another new CD called Life, and you guys are doing it through Pledge Music. What can you tell us about the new CD, and what can you tell us about the strategy of going through Pledge Music for this CD?
We're, as a band that's not signed, you know, we're a DIY band. You know, anything we do, we don't have, you know, corporate money behind us, and we don't have, you know, we're not rich people. You know, we don't have a major label that's pushing any of our stuff. So one of our strategies for this album is to try to sell as many CDs as we can before we release the album. So that way, when we start off, day one of our sales, everything, you know, accumulates onto that one day. So hopefully, you know, it helps us, you know, push this a little bit bigger than it, you know, gives us some of the extra you know, that it needs in order to, you know, hit some kind of charts and, you know, like iTunes charts and stuff like that. We're working on radio promotion for this album, and we're really using a promotional strategy to try to put this in as many hands as we possibly can. This is our best work to date, you know, compared to any other CD we've done. You know, we definitely took a new approach to this album. You know, like I said before, we were writing kind of individually, and we were, you know, emailing the songs back and forth, working on them, you know, sending them back and kind of doing everything that way. This album, we actually locked ourselves in a room in Pekin, Mississippi. It was a studio. We locked ourselves in there for a month and, you know, wrote the album until it was done. You know, we spent an entire week in pre-production. It's something we've never done before. We usually just go song by song. This we actually took the entire album as a whole and painted a picture of exactly what we wanted when we were done, and then we went straight toward that goal. So every day we were recording. Every night I was writing lyrics, you know, and then in the morning when I was, you know, kind of catching a nap before my sessions there at night, you know, everybody was doing their parts during the day. And so it was really nice to work with a different producer this time who, you know, the guy's just really smart about music. You know, we learned a whole lot. His name's Rick Lander, but he's working there in Florida right now. But yeah, the guy was very knowledgeable, taught us a ton about music, and so right there we could just apply that, you know, to what we were doing. I mean, this is kind of like you know, our baby that we're ready to kind of rebirth Dead Horse Trauma, you know, as the band that we think it should be. So, you know, Pledge Music was one of the ways that we could just, you know, get it out to everybody, and that being a UK-based company, you know, kind of give it a little extra, little validity.
Nah, and hey, listen, that sounds like a perfect way to do it, especially in today's day and age. I mean, it's very hard for a lot of artists and or bands and or solo artists to get their stuff out there, and a lot of major labels don't want to take the time to put into them. And I'll tell you that there are some very amazing artists, including you guys yourself. I can see the difference from Kill the Precedence to, even though I didn't get to hear the new CD yet live, I did hear one track. I can see a difference in it. We're going to get to that right now as well. DHT released a new single to promote the new CD, and that track is called Left Unsaid. It sounds like the perfect track to start off that CD. What can you tell us about this song, and what went into it? Was there anything you did differently with not just the song, but also the video?
Oh yeah, I'm glad you're touching on that, because I mean, really, this is kind of a part of our promotional strategy for this album. We have well, it'll start to make sense once we release the future videos. But there's kind of an inner story in Life. This portion that we've chose to release right at the very beginning, Left Unsaid, is about addiction and struggling with addiction. There's this kind of like a trio of videos. This is the first video that we have released. The next one's going to come out here in a few weeks for another song called Fugue State. But it's kind of like, you know, the aftermath of what happens to a person and kind of how they're dealing with their own emotional struggles in the form of addiction. So it's kind of looking at it from an onlooker point of view of somebody that, you know, is watching somebody struggle and, you know, not being able to help them because they don't want to help themselves, that kind of thing. Once this is our first single from the album, so once this has kind of died off a little bit, we have another single that we're going to release nationally in radio and everything. You know, once that comes out, it'll kind of tell you a little bit more of the story that's kind of this video showing.
Very nice. And that's, you know, a lot of it's funny because it seems like, not to say that it doesn't go on with any genre or any artist or any band. Most, I want to say 99.9% of the artists in the world tell stories. Their entire CD tells a story, track by track. It's pretty amazing how that can take place and form and or morph into the final product. Is there anything else about the new CD life that you want to tell us about we may not know about yet? Anything else related to it?
No, we have a CD release tour coming up that we're going to start pushing this to February through March. We're going to be hitting a lot of the Midwest states that we've been unfortunately neglecting. I mean, it's kind of like we're still learning, as far as touring and everything. We've hit every corner of the United States in the last 3 years, and a lot of people want us back, but we feel like we haven't hit Wisconsin like more than like a couple times in 3 years, so it's kind of, that was a big market for us. We're spending a lot of time hitting the West Coast, doing long drives and stuff. We haven't done as much East Coast as we'd like to. We're definitely going to be working a lot more strategically to hit more places this year than we have, in the previous years, because we're just kind of learning, kind of thing. But we have a CD release tour coming out. We're putting a lot of money basically behind radio promotion for this album. We're doing the video promotion. This is everything that we've learned as far as marketing and everything pushed into this album. So you're going to see it a whole lot more. We've been pretty secretive about it. We've been sitting on this album ever since we got it recorded. So the only little piece that we've released to anybody is left unsaid. I think tomorrow, actually, Friday, Revolver is going to release our documentary that we shot while we were inside of the studio. So this is, while we were in there, we had a little film crew with us, and they would, just record everything and, try to put together a little story for us. We ended up going through them and then Squared Studios and everything to put that all together. They did a really good job, so that's going to actually explain a whole lot about the recording of the CD and get a little bit more of a taste.
I'll be looking for that for sure. From what I've seen, it looks like the fans of DHT want to get on board with this new CD life. What would you like to say to those that have helped contribute to this cause of DHT so far with Pledge Music?
Oh man, it's heartwarming the amount of support that just came out. With our breakdown and everything, we've had so many people donate us money and pick up T-shirts, pre-order the new CD. It's left all of us speechless. Like it's crazy how every time we have like an issue, it's never really an issue because we know that we have the greatest people on earth to have our back. So really we can't thank you guys enough for your guys' help and keeping us afloat. When we don't have a label, we don't have a lot of money. All we have is our fans, and our fans have never disappointed us as far as being able to help us and coming out to our shows, always lending a helping hand. Giving us a place to stay anytime we're out there. From the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate it, and I know the other guys do too. So thank you.
That's awesome, man. No, it's what it's all about. The fans stick by, bands they love. You guys are obviously hard workers. You hit it hard. You love what you do, and just like any other artist, but there are ones that seem to want to push it more and go even farther than some do. Not to say that one does more than the other, but you know what I'm saying. It's really cool to hear that from all the artists I speak with on how they feel about their fans, because they're dedicated to you guys, and that's pretty awesome. I was going to ask you about being on tour right now, but you explained that in the beginning. We can touch upon it briefly. How was that going before you had this mishap with your vehicle?
The problem, unfortunately, it was the best tour we've had so far. It's been going crazy. The crowds were there. We've had some excellent shows, and then the breakdown happened. So it was kind of a morale buster. We're kind of like, oh man, everybody's really depressed. We got two of our guys. Our bassist is from Houston, Texas, and this time we decided to take out a tech with us who really wanted to come. We have those two guys up from Houston, Texas that are kind of just sitting idle right now, unfortunately. That ordeal. But the shows were going excellent. Got a lot of pre-orders done for our new CD, and that was kind of the objective of this, is to get everybody's email address to try to find a way to get a hold of our fans next time we come through, and for our CD release tour and everything. So this is kind of like our little initial brush before we hit the West Coast for one last time before we have to pause it for 3 or 4 months.
No, and hey, that makes perfect sense. Things happen, and it's not your fault that you had vehicle trouble. It happens, so who knows? Things work out and happen for a reason too, so don't sweat it. I think you guys will be just fine. Other than obviously the new new CD Life, the new track that's been released, the Pledge Music project, and what you mentioned as far as the tour that's going to be coming up. Are you guys even thinking about already getting back into the studio? Is that already in your mind before this is already done?
The time's already scheduled. We definitely have, let's just say life has a little bit more to it than we're going to be releasing here in the next year. So it'll all come to a realization once we release the next CD after that. But it's definitely all planned. We plan on going back into the studio with our next set of tracks and finishing off can't really talk about that. It's all planned for sure.
Too bad, man. Too bad. I almost got it. It's all good, man. Eric Davidson, vocalist for Dead Horse Trauma. I want to take the time right now to say thank you to you, the band, for the time you've given us here at NECR New England Concert Reviews. From what I've heard with Killer Precedence and Left Unsaid, I think you guys are going in the right direction. I definitely like what I'm hearing. It's unfortunate with, the van, but, things happen, as I said. I wish you the best. I wish DHT the best. The new CD, Life, the best. I hope you guys find a little more luck with vehicles in the future, but other than that, it sounds like you got a pretty good handle on this stuff. I'm looking forward to hearing what may come from Dead Horse Trauma.
Crazy, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the support you give for not only us, but, all the bands out there. It really means a lot that there's people like you that support us.
I love music, all forms, all kinds, I wish you the best. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Davidson, vocalist for the band Dead Horse Trauma. Good luck.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
I'll be looking forward to seeing you all over the place. We'll talk to you soon.
Goodbye.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Eric Davidson, vocalist for the band Dead Horse Trauma. I am Greg, a.k.a. Crazy G, for NECR New England Concert Reviews, and that's another one. I'll be back. See ya.